Hello knitters and welcome to my channel. My name is Vanessa Ewing and I'm the dyer and designer behind Cape May Fiber, a hand knitting and hand dyed yarn company. I am here to show you today how to do some seaming on a pullover. This is a special kind of pullover. It's called the Cavanaugh. It's my design, and I released this a couple years ago for my husband, and now I'm ready to do a women's version and release the whole pattern, and I'm really excited about it because it is seamed, something that's not normally done nowadays, and I think that that could be a really useful tool for you all to understand how to do that. If you're unfamiliar with saddle shoulder sweaters, this is a sweater that has an extension from the sleeve to the back neck, and it's lovely for menswear and women's wear alike. So here's what I'm talking about by this seam here, and I'm going to show you how to join the back and the front and the sleeves together with this saddle shoulder detail. So if that's something you're interested in, please come along, and I'm happy to share all of my insights on how to do that. And thanks for joining me, and if you are new here, please subscribe and let's get to it. Here are all my pieces laid out. They are already blocked. I have my front, my back, and my two sleeves, and they are ready for seaming. I have already gone ahead and blocked all of my pieces, and I do highly recommend you do that before you begin seaming because you will have a lot easier time making a nice even seam. So the first thing I'm going to show you right here is the back neck extension of the sleeves, and this will be seamed down to the back neck right here, and you'll know on your piece that you have a marker here from your pattern. There's a marker here as well. So those are going to be important because they're markers for knowing how far deep in to seam this extension, and then you'll be seaming in the cap. So I'm going to first seam this. I'll show you how to do that, and then we're going to go ahead and do a nice mattress stitch along here. Alright, so for this step you will be grafting the stitches of these two sections of the sleeves together using Kitchener stitch. So I have a tapestry needle and I have some yarn. I did leave some tail ends of the yarn, so I'll probably go ahead and use those tail ends to Kitchener stitch rather than join a new strand of yarn. Now in the pattern it tells you to knit from your marker to a certain measurement, and that's because that is going to fit into this portion here of the back, right? So you can see where your marker is, and this is the first steps of our decreasing for the shoulder. So that is going to fit in nicely here and be sewn along this edge. This should be meeting the center back neck. Same thing with this piece. It will be seamed right along here from that marker to the back neck. Now, this is the time I want you to take a look at your piece and your sleeves and make sure that there is plenty of material to seam to. So your pieces should already be blocked at this point, so you'll know whether or not these sleeve extensions are going to be too long or too short. And at this point, you can either rip out a couple of rows and adjust it that way, or you can add a couple of rows depending on how you see that it's needed, necessary for you to have a nice seam. I feel like you want it to be a little bit more snug than too loose. So I think that I have it pretty perfect right here, right in the middle there. So what I'm going to do is going to take my knitting here. We're going to do a Kitchener stitch, and so I tend to use knitting needles for my stitch holders. So you might have these already on stitch holders, so you're going to want to go ahead and take them off the stitch holders and join them onto knitting needles if you like to join that way. So I have a nice long tail already, so I'm going to seam up with that tail. I did rip out, I think, one row on each of the sleeves to fit nicely into the back piece. I felt like it needed just like one row ripped out. So right now I have my right sides of my work facing, so right sides of this, or right sides out, wrong sides facing inside. And Kitchener stitch is very easy to work. I am just going to go ahead and knit across these in Kitchener. So slip one knitwise, and then take off, and then slip one purlwise, leave on to the front needle. The back needle you will slip one purlwise, and then slip one knitwise, and leave on. So, and it's I believe it's only 12 stitches, so it doesn't take too long, and you want to repeat that across. Sorry if my camera angle's a little up. I like to look above the camera, so I have a tendency to do that. I'm going to try not to do that. So let's see here. So I'll repeat it in case you've never done Kitchener before. So slip one knitwise, take off, slip one purlwise, leave on your front needle. All right, and then the back needle is slip one purlwise, take off, slip one knitwise, leave on. It's funny how I just tell myself, like, it's like a little rhyme in a way, like a little saying, and I just say it to myself in my head. Some people have handy little songs that they sing when they do this part. I would say whatever works for you. Yeah, I have even seen like little wooden keychains that have this on them. I mean, I love that. So make it easy. One of the things that I find always difficult to remember is a tubular cast on. I need to always look that one up. I can't seem to ever remember what I'm supposed to do with those steps. I think it's like 3 steps. So, all right. And when I do join this, I do like to give it a little tug. I've said it before in my videos, but I like a little bit tighter rather than looser for Kitchener stitch. I just like the way it looks better, so you know, I like to give it like a little extra tug at this point. So I'm almost done grafting these together, and this is going to be the center back neck. So this is also a really good indicator of where to put this little Kitchener stitch seam when you're ready to join the two together, meaning the sleeves and the back. I like to leave that as like kind of like my little anchor point, like, okay, that's my reminder that that goes right in the back neck. So when I complete the last 2, I just slip them off. So those needles are now empty. So, and that step is done. So now let's take a look at what we've got here, okay? So I've joined these 2. It looks like some sort of alien critter here, you know, who knows what the heck this is, you know, with this skinny piece. Okay, and here is our back neck right here. So this right here is where we Kitchener stitch. This will go right in the center of your back neck, and this part will be seamed from here, and this part will be seamed from here. Okay, so you can go ahead and actually just use the same strand of yarn that you were using for the Kitchener stitch. And we're going to do mattress stitch for this, and I love mattress stitch. I use it a lot in the way I seam sweaters. It's just a wonderful way. Now, if you don't happen to have a measuring tape and you're like, oh my gosh, what is the center? Well, just take these 2 panels right here and fold them together, and then there you go. That is your absolute center right there, and that's where we're going to stick our tapestry needle in. So there we go. Now we are ready to do our mattress stitch. So go ahead and take 2 along these columns here. You can see the columns that I'm talking about, right? So I think I actually want to take this one and this one. All right, take 2 columns from this side and then go over here, and then we're going to do 2 and 2. So you're going to take 2 from there, and along this edge I have a nice garter stitch edge. As you can see, it's easy for seaming. There's these little knots. You can see garter stitch there, garter stitch there. This notates 2 rows for each garter stitch, so that is your guide right there to know where you're at. Now I think I'm gonna go, so our rows tend to be, I think it's 7 rows to an inch, and our stitch gauge was more like 5. So I am going to do a little bit of uneven picking up for this seaming, just because we'll have more rows than we do stitches. So we're gonna, you know, go along here, but also be mindful of where we're at as far as the seaming. So I'm going to just do this little section here and take a look, because this is very dense too, so we want to make sure that we're still on track for this right here, and it looks like we're doing good. Okay, so so again, like these little bumps here, this is my 2 rows for my garter bump, so I'm going to take that and go in, and then along this edge here, so I'm going like right in the edge, right, like this is the bind off edge, so I'm going right along that edge. And if you don't like it, you take a look at your seam and you don't like it, start over. Don't feel like you're married to you know, your seam, but this is what it's looking like right now. It's very nice and even, and very structurally sound. So, all right, let me be quiet now and do this. See what it looks like. Looks good. Move this a little closer to me. All right, and where are we at as far as this goes? Okay, so you can kind of see here that I have this edge and it's lining up pretty nicely. I'm having to pull a little bit more on this edge than on this one, so that's how I know that I'm going to be needing to pick up maybe a little bit more. Also, this is the end of my bind off for my back neck, so you can see that the angle is starting to change because I had some decreasing that happened along here. That's perfectly normal, and you're just going to continue on. This is all one of those things that you just practice and you get better at. Don't be afraid to seam. Seaming is a wonderful thing to know how to do. And it's not hard. And if you don't like it, you can take it out. I'm a big fan of redoing things that aren't right. Okay. Let's see where we're at. Yes, we're still doing great. Okay. And so I'm going to seam up this half, and then you're going to go to the other half of the back neck and seam the same thing. You're seaming the shoulders and the neck together. So like I said, like that will be seamed, and then you're going to go ahead and seam up along here. And if it wasn't apparent, this is the right side of the work that you're going to want to seam along. Always with mattress stitch, you seam along the right side of the work. Let's see how we're doing here. Yeah, see, look how pretty, right? It's really not that hard. You just kind of like map out, like, okay, you know, I'm gonna go right here. I'm not gonna go like right on this edge here, but I'm gonna go right here and pick up like 2. That looks like a good amount, and keep going. And then give it a little tug, see how you're doing. All right, so I am a little bit off here, but I think it will be okay. I think I can make this work. And if not, I can always go back and undo the seam. If you're unsure about how to undo a seam, I should probably show you how to do that. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so see, like even though I've been seaming for so long, look, I'm a little off, right? So I'm going to have to go back and take more from this end and take less from this. So to undo, I just give it a tug. You can see your seam there, and I also use my tapestry needle to help me kind of get that end here, and you can kind of see what you know, what needs to be pulled, because it'll loosen as you separate the two. So, and you can also use your fingers if that's easier for you to pull it out. So all right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to finish up this side, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to finish up the other side, and I'll be right back. All right, we are back, and as you can see, I have seamed up the whole saddle part to the back portion. And can I just say, if you've made it this far, congratulations. You've already done so much more than most people have ever done as far as seaming goes. For saddle shoulders, you are doing great. So you can see that these markers are where I seamed up from, and so they can be removed now because they aren't necessary anymore. And if you like these markers, they were a gift from my husband, and he got them on Etsy, and I'm sure I can find out exactly where he got them. They came in as a set. They're just so cute, and they are definitely like removable kind, so they're really cute and easy to spot. So now our next step is going to be sewing our cap of our sleeve into the back. So this is where our armhole shaping started with our bind offs. This all will be seamed together. So I have a long piece of yarn already from when I was doing my saddle shoulder seam. So I'm just going to go ahead and thread my tapestry needle, and we're going to seam that part next. And you're going to do that on both sides, not only this sleeve, but then you're also going to be doing it on the other sleeve as well. So that is our next step, and we're going to do we're going to do mattress stitch all over again, just like before. Now, if you have a hard time seeing where these bind offs are, you can go ahead and use your markers again if you like. I'm not going to, because I can kind of pretty much see them pretty clearly here. So same thing with our mattress stitch. We're going to take one from each side. Now, just taking a look at it, usually there's some ease in the cap that you have to do for like the cap will be a little smaller than the armhole opening, something like that. So just take a look. Let's take a look at our knitting first and see what we need to do. Make a little plan of action before we begin. So I can see that this is curved a little, right? And this is a little bit smaller. So we are going to need to pick up a little bit more on this side than we would on this side for our mattress stitch. And what I mean by pick up is I'm going to be taking, say, 1 or 2 stitches from this side and seaming, and then on this side I might take 3 or 4, and I like to stagger that. And so normally what I'll do is I'll take maybe, so when I say 2, the garter stitch counts as 2 rows, so 2, so the garter stitch seaming, all right, and then maybe this time instead of taking 2 from this side, where's our garter stitch seam? There it is. Maybe I'll take 4. And I'm not going to do that every time. I'm just going to do that maybe every 3 times. So this is going to be 2, right? And 2, as in 2 rows. 2, 2, and then I'm going to do another 2. And this is why I have a nice garter stitch edge for seaming on the design. I tell you to do a garter stitch edge, just because it's a little easier to see, a little bit easier to seam. You're not going into so many pieces, you're just going into like one little garter bump. So then we'll do 1 here, and then we're gonna pick up 2 here. So this is 1 bump, and this is 2 bumps. So, and then just kind of gauge where you're going with that. You can do that a couple times and then just see how much stretch more material you might need to keep doing that, or you might be doing enough. It's looking pretty darn good. I might do it one more time. So we're gonna pick up, like I said, like 1 garter bump, 1 garter bump, right? And then 1 garter bump, 1 garter bump, and then this side will be 1, and the next side will be 2. 1, and then we'll do 1, 2. All right. And this is how you ease in caps on normal set-in sleeves, not just saddle shoulder. So if this is a new technique you've never done before, then yay, you're learning a couple things all at once. How fun is that? So, okay, so again, we're doing 2 and 2 and 2. Okay, and then I hope I'm not confusing with the 2. I mean 2 rows, but 1 garter bump. Sorry if that's not clear. Okay, and it looks like I'm good. I am, at this point, I'm going to just continue to pick up the same amount of fabric on each side, because I think I'm doing really good here with easing in, and that's what this is called, easing in the cap of your sleeve. Little fun fact, if you have done sewing before, then you probably already know how to do this. And in a way, doing knit fabric is easier because it does stretch a lot more than woven fabric. I remember being in design school and having to ease in a cap on a woven, and that was a thing, man. That was not very easy. This is a piece of cake because your knitting stretches. Everything's easier in a way with the knitting. I like it. No, the math is not easier, but the process of seaming is a little easier. You have to be a little bit more precise when you have wovens. So we're doing really good, and look, we've already come to the bind off edges, so we're going to go ahead and seam those as well. And we did really good on figuring out you know, how much fabric we needed for ease, because we did end up nice and even here at the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this cap up, and then I'm going to go ahead and do the other sleeve cap and come back. Alright, and we're back. So now you can see this is the back of the pullover, and we have our saddle shoulder seamed in, and now we have half of our cap shaping seamed in, and guess what it's time for, guys? The front. Yes. So okay, so we are going to do the same thing like we did for the back, and we are going to seam this shoulder section of the front, and then after that we are going to seam our cap into. So right now it looks like, oh my gosh, this won't fit right. This is a weird shape. None of this will fit. I promise it will. It'll look great. So one thing that's magical that I wanted to point out that you don't normally get in set-em sleeves is because we're doing a saddle shoulder, part of the back neck is shaped into that, and I just love that little detail. So this is your neck opening here, guys. So let's see here. What I like to do is, I don't know if I have enough. Actually, I'm looking at this little strand, and guys, don't do what I did. This is terrible, right? You need a longer strand than this to like seam on. So luckily I have another thread right here that's probably long enough to keep going. So I'm gonna play a little seaming yarn chicken because I don't want to have to join a new strand, and then that's actually one less end to weave in. So all right, grab your strand and I usually like to just start right there in the corner. I don't start seaming in that. I actually like to just join it in the corner because it creates like a little bit better line for the neck. Okay, and then you're just going to go ahead and do the same thing like you did for the back, and you're going to ease in your shoulder, and then that seam is going to extend down to the cap and seam that part. So, and you're going to do that on the front, right and left. So I'm going to come back and show you how that looks, but you're going to do the same mattress stitch just like you were doing before. Check your ease, you know, rip out if you need to. Take your time. There's not a race, and you're learning so much doing all of this, and keep going, guys. Okay, see you back then. All right, guys, I have just finished seaming up the front set-in sleeves, and as you can see, it no longer lays flat, and that's a good thing because we are putting it on a 3D body, right? So it may look a little funny right now, so let me fix it for you so you can see. And the front is on top right now, right? And here are the sleeves, all right? And you can see the whole piece come together. Like, how exciting, right? You could probably understand that I love seaming. This is like my thing. So I'm really excited to share this. So the last step for your pullover, for seaming anyway, because you still have to do the neckband, right? The neckband is actually the last. Though you could technically work the neckband now if you are really excited about doing it. So because everything's ready to go, as you can see, it's ready to be worked. It's already in a circle. So, but anyway, I am actually going to go ahead and seam the sleeves and the body seam. So I usually do this in one fell swoop. So I will take a thread that's long enough, not that one. Looks like there's a nice long one here. So I usually like to do this in one piece. So I will start either on the sleeve cuff or the body hem and seam all the way up into this L shape. Same thing with this. And that joins them, and then you have a body, and you can actually try it on at that point. I mean, you could try it on now, but you know, you'll have these things flapping. So just to reiterate how easy this is to seam, you have along here these garter stitch edges that I have thoughtfully put in the pattern. So you will be picking up these little bumps as you seam, and they are, if you followed your row gauge and you counted your rows for your front and your back. They should be exactly the same, so it should be exactly the same amount of bumps. Same thing with the sleeves, the same amount of bumps on there. So, and this I find speeds up seaming so much rather than just a regular stockinette stitch edge. You're just picking up these little bumps, all right, as you do your mattress stitch. So I'm gonna come back after I do that part and you can see it all together. And I'm really excited because, you know, if you have followed me this far and you've done all the steps I've done, you are also at this stage, which is so exciting. It's finally coming together, all your hard work. So, all right, meet me back after I seam. Hi knitters, so as you can probably tell, I am done with the seaming part. I have a million ends, I have empty needles, and I have stitch markers to put away. All right, you ready? Here it is. Ah, my sweater still needs the neck, but the seaming is done. Let me put it on real quick. It's always so exciting. So I seamed up, last time you saw me, I had seamed up the sleeves and the body of the pullover. And now all that's left is the neck and then to weave in some ends. So let me back up a little so you can see. But yeah, it's fabulous. I'm not sure if I would wear it with the skirt. I mean, who knows, maybe. But you can see, so I'm gonna show you right here. This is my saddle shoulder detail and it goes all the way down the sleeve, all right? And it fits so nicely because it does have some back neck shaping, which means it's not straight across the back. You're gonna have a little curve because the back does curve right here from the shoulders. So that's it. I hope you learned something new and that it was exciting for you guys because it was exciting for me to finally show. I've made many saddle shoulder pullovers and designed them, and it was just a great experience for me to show you all how I do that and how it's not intimidating. Do it one step at a time, and once you do it once, you do it again, and it really sticks. There's Freya back there. All right, and that's it for me. So please comment, let me know if you learned something new, if you have any other questions. And I'll be releasing this design called Cavanaugh in September of 2024. So if you're seeing this later, it's already out, so go get it and enjoy. DK Wait, my lovely color potions class from the Worst Witch collection. All right, have a lovely day. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.